Males who exhibit characteristics of both alphas and betas are known as sigmas. They aren't happy merely going along with the flow, but they also don't feel comfortable always taking the helm. This makes them appear cryptic, and at times impossible to get along with. Despite widespread misunderstanding, there are valid explanations for why sigmas rarely engage with you. Number 1. You have failed to impress them. Sigma guys in general have a low threshold for awe and respect. This can make them look unapproachable or even judgmental, but the truth is that they just don't care much about the opinions of those around them since they have high standards and don't offer their approval easily. Unlike the average person, Sigma males aren't impressed by flashy displays of riches, power, or artificial breasts. They'd rather spend time with someone they can trust and who is being themselves. If you want to remove a stigma, you might as well attempt to extract water out of a stone. Because they don't place a high value on appearances or belongings, they may come across as indifferent to those around them. They don't understand why it would be worthwhile to try to win over someone they hardly know. Sometimes Sigma men can be impressed by something or someone, but it's typically because that person or object has accomplished something the Sigma man admires, rather than being impressed by someone who is trying to impress them. A person would rather be inspired by someone who has conquered difficulty or accomplished something wonderful. Sigma guys have excellent social intelligence and are immune to flattery and other forms of manipulation. You can literally see a liar a mile away because they have an extremely sensitive nonsense detector. Sigmas, on the other hand, are not readily duped by flattery or false promises. Rather than being lied to, they prefer to deal with the facts head-on. Number 2. Sigma men frequently hide away to recharge. However, this is just how they function best, despite the fact that their need for alone time might make them appear distant or even chilly. Unlike those who thrive in crowds, Sigmas can function quite well on their own. They need time alone to recharge and experience social exhaustion after prolonged interaction with others. This explains why Sigmas tend to hang around in the great outdoors or at home. They have to have time alone to think things through and refuel. They are not the kind to enjoy themselves in a noisy bar or club, preferring instead a peaceful setting in which to unwind and reflect. Some may see your desire for solitude negatively, but you should embrace it. This is a great opportunity for people to take stock of their lives and decide what they truly want from this point forward. That's when they're at their most inventive and efficient. Sigmas are the ones who get things done when everyone else is out having fun. Although the term recharge may seem foreign to some, it is of paramount importance to Sigma guys. They'll feel overwhelmed and stressed out if they don't have some alone time every once in a while. For a Sigma, recharging is not a passive procedure, rather it is an integral part of maintaining their health. Number 3, they dislike having to explain themselves to others who don't understand. Sigmas don't much like having to explain their thoughts and deeds to others. They have faith in their own abilities and don't feel the need to seek validation from others. This may give the impression that they are arrogant or even self-centered, but they are simply not tuned in at the same frequency as the average person. Unlike some people who may need reassurance all the time, Sigmas are fine when left to their own devices. They have faith in their own judgment and don't seek outside approval before acting. Although others may misinterpret their confidence, Sigmas are confident in their own abilities and have nothing to prove. This is why they tend to disregard the opinions of others, especially if they are negative. It's common for Sigma guys to find that certain people simply do not get them. When they try to express themselves, it can feel like they're talking to a brick wall. Not because Sigmas are selfish, but because it's a waste of time and effort. It's sometimes better and easier to leave these folks be. Sigma men are neither conceited nor impolite, since they don't care about what other people think. They are capable of great kindness and compassion, where the mood strikes them. People will avoid or even abandon those who are continually attempting to bring them down or who are overly critical. Number 4, they have no faith in you. Sigmas are cautious and distrustful people. They've been hurt before, and they're not going to make the same mistake twice. Because of this, they may come across as untrustworthy, but in reality, they just don't believe anything at face value. Whereas others may be willing to accept the word of others, Sigmas are highly skeptical. They won't believe you until they see it with their own eyes. Their skepticism may make them appear to be constantly doubting or questioning everything, but it is actually a defense mechanism. They are on high alert because they have no interest in letting their guard down in case they are taken advantage of or hurt again. If they detect even a whiff of fakery, they will disregard what you have to say. To gain a Sigma's trust, they must first get to know them. They need to observe the individual in a variety of settings to build trust in them. Once a Sigma learns they can trust you, you have their undivided attention. When things get rough, they won't run away. If you earn Sigma's trust, they'll be dependable and loyal in return. Even if they don't seem to care, they'll always be there for you when you really need them, and they'll have your back no matter what. Number 5. Their minds wander. Sigma males are notoriously introverted and can spend hours thinking about nothing in particular. This may give them an air of coldness, but it's just the way they go about their business. They're always pondering something and attempting to make sense of the world around them. While this may seem strange to some, it's actually how they generate solutions to issues and new ideas. They are perpetually dreaming about better times and envisioning other possibilities. There is never a moment when their thoughts aren't racing, and they aren't seeking to make some sort of connection. They may not hear you if you try to talk to a Sigma when they're deep in thought. They're thinking so much about themselves that they're oblivious to the world around them. Although this may cause others annoyance, it is not a reflection of them as people, but rather of the way they are wired. It's wise to wait a moment if you're having a conversation with a stranger and they seem distant. They don't do it on purpose. It's just how their brains work. Trying to make sense of the world is a passion of theirs, and they enjoy doing it constantly. Sigma men aren't the types to be able to turn off their thoughts, even when they try. Number 6. They care nothing about your own drama. Anything that adds undue pressure or drama to a Sigma's life is something they despise. They like things to be straightforward and easy, and they dislike arguments. This doesn't mean Sigmas are cowards, rather, they prefer to settle conflicts rationally. They don't see the sense in worrying over something that's simple to correct. Since Sigma values solitude so highly, they may come to seem uncaring or even rude to those around them. However, they have no interest in engaging in frivolous conflict. Some people may thrive in the thick of things, but Sigmas prefer to observe from the periphery. They prefer to sit back and assess a situation from a distance. Having this information at their disposal allows them to make better, albeit seemingly dispassionate, decisions. They don't feel the need to participate in the drama and mayhem going on around them since they don't need to in order to comprehend it. It's not worth their time to try. If alpha men thrive when they are the center of attention, Sigmas are content to be in the background. They prefer to take a backseat and let the show go on without them. To be clear, this doesn't mean that Sigma males are introverted. Rather, they just don't feel the need to constantly be the focus of attention. They have no problem with staying out of the spotlight and prefer to have a more low-key existence. This is deliberate, as it achieves their goal of being unnoticed. Number 7. Irredeemably dull crowds. In social circumstances, Sigma guys frequently find themselves surrounded by people who don't pique their interest. They are frequently utterly bored at social or professional gatherings. This is due to the fact that Sigmas are picky about their friendships and prefer to spend time only with those who can keep a stimulating conversation going. If they aren't challenged intellectually, they'll soon become bored and disengage. This is why Sigma guys go for more intimate settings for socialization. They want to talk seriously, not just fill the silence with light talk. There's a common perception among Sigmas that they don't belong. This is because they are restless and constantly looking to broaden their horizons, find their niche in the world, and meet people who can teach them new things. Most people are content with a lackluster existence. They have no aspirations beyond merely existing. They'd find it boring to repeat the same routine. Number 8. Despite your own imperfections, you're far too critical of others. We are quick to see the faults in others, but slow to see our own. People like that are around. We all know at least one. People like that are always ready to point out your flaws, but they'd never dream of owning up to their own. Sigma men hate and easily disregard this type of person. These individuals' primary goal is to provoke one another into an argument rather than engage in meaningful dialogue. It's far easier to criticize the person in front of you than it is to look at yourself honestly and acknowledge your mistakes. So we need to do that before we start pointing fingers at others. Once you've accomplished this, you'll realize that not a single person is faultless. We're all just regular folks making the most of our abilities here. Number 9. You're stretching the truth. Sigmas can't fathom the motivation for folks to embellish or fabricate. They are never happy with being told only half the story. They want to know how things really are. This explains why they have such a hard time forming friendships and romantic relationships. They can't fathom why others don't speak with more reason and logic. To them, it makes no sense. Trying to communicate with them is like trying to talk to someone who is using a foreign language. The other person's words make no sense to them and only serve to aggravate them. Many Sigma males get the impression that nobody else is actually present in the world. They're all just cocooned in their own little worlds, refusing to interact with the real world or use their brains. Overstating facts is a pointless use of a Sigma's time and effort. They aren't fans of flowery language or elaboration, preferring instead to go to the chase. Number 10. As a form of politeness. Because they don't want to be disrespectful, Sigma males may choose to ignore you at times. They may not care about what you have to say, but they don't want to be rude by cutting you off or interrupting you. They value politeness highly and would prefer to avoid conflict by ignoring you rather than offending you. You'll have a tough time getting into an argument with a Sigma dude. They have incredible control over their emotions and rarely become angry. They would rather avoid conflict by ignoring you than fight with you. You will be ignored if you seek conflict.